Afadhali mzee ambaye ni mtulivu, ambaye hana haja ya kujaza mifuko yake, ambaye atachunga masilahi ya watu yake, badala ya mdomo tamtamu 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 tamtamu. Lakini akiingia ni wale wa kufanya moja yako, nusu ya mwananchi, 2 yako na 5 yangu. Na unawajua nyinyi.
Let's take those to places where there are none and bridge the distance by connecting the past to the future.
KCB ni yetu.
KCB ni yangu.
KCB is mine.
For people, for better.
You showed up for the first treasure hunt event, the second treasure hunt next level event, and now the biggest family event of the year, the Akili Kids Treasure Hunt Hidden Fortune, on the 9th of December from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at RFUEA ground along Ngong Road. Entry fee, 600 bob for children, 200 bob for wazazi. Tickets at the gate, 1,000 bob for children and 500 bob for wazazi. Get your tickets now on milk.com. Food and drinks from outside are not allowed.
Hata leo mimi naona hii maendeleo, anasema hizo maendeleo, hakuna maendeleo. Maendeleo ya nini? Ya matope. Maendeleo ya matope kama maya.
Sisi vile sio watu ambao wanataka ugomvi kwa sababu ya ugomvi.
Niwaambia nyinyi ni wajinga mkimpata Ruto. Mkadhani tunawadanganya.
Eti ya Ruto. Hii maisha ya Ruto ni stress na ni stress.
Mungu wewe umetukosea.
Sasa tumesema siku ya Jumatano. Uko tayari? Uko tayari? Tumesema sisi si majambazi.
Tunaingia vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye Sound Candy Talk. Tukutane Sound Candy Talk.
I've been sitting in the garden, Channel CC got me. She won't follow me go, but she know I leave her daddy. For me, why you lying? Girl, I've been calling. You want spend the world, but you know I could you party. Away, away, don't you come my way, cause me I want party. Away, away, don't. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, this country is a very strange country with Zakayo and team in the leadership. After being treated to all manner of excuse after excuse on what is ailing Kenyans and why Kenyans are being, afflicted by the high cost of living and, of course, being denied the rightful subsidies and being cushioned by the government against the harsh times. It is now reported that so far, since Zakayo assumed office, the borrowing has reached to 4.6 trillion Kenya shillings. But the CS for Finance or Treasury surprises Parliament by another claim that there will be salary delay because there is no cash. So tonight, I want to call upon non-scripts, Mato, candidates, and every one of the mathematicians to come and help us because we need to crunch these numbers and be able to find out where is the money Zakayo is borrowing. Where is it going to? That's all we need to know because the country doesn't have money, confesses the CS for Treasury, yet the international community and all the well-wishers for Zakayo have already given him over 4.6 trillion. So how much money is enough for Zakayo's government to function in a year? Is Zakayo still functioning within the provision of the budget, or he created his own budget that is surpassing the provision of the requested amount to be used within the framework of the 1-year period as budgeted for? These supplementary budgets that are being introduced from every corner, are they serving the interest of Kenyans, or they are avenues for corruption? And that leads us to the poll question we are asking. If Zakayo has borrowed 4.6 trillion in 1 year, why would the country be having a financial crisis? Why would the government be having problem paying salaries? Could it be that William Ruto borrows for corruption? That's what you need to respond to on Sound Candid Talk Live. We already have 3 votes and all of them 100% say yes. Is Ruto government borrowing for corruption, hence the current financial crisis? 100% yes. Let's check on this other side. Our main Sound Candid Talk, 15 votes. Please make sure you like the video before you cast your vote so that you will have a way of verifying. Okay, 17 votes so far. Is Ruto government borrowing for corruption, hence the current financial crisis? 100% yes from the majority of the Kenyan people who follow our broadcast on Sound Candy Talk. Therefore, we are all almost agreeing together that there is leakage. That is why there cannot be financial stability with the William Ruto administration. And this goes without saying that William Ruto is on record saying that corruption cannot stop a determined leader from delivering on his promises in any country. So William Ruto has no problem with corruption, and he seemed to be doing very well with corruption thriving under his watch. And that's why he's never in the country. Comes in today, leaves tomorrow to borrow more, yet we don't see what he has borrowed, where it goes to, and how it helps this country. Let's dive into this discussion. I call upon you, please invite somebody. Karibisha mtu, usitazame kipindi peke yako. Naomba tumakinike pamoja. Alafu, of course, tukizungumza masuala ya hela, kuna nao hii inapaswa kuwa kama gossip ama sijui itakuwaje, lakini nataka tuizungumzie kwa sababu kuna hili swala ambalo kuna exchange katikati ya waimbaji wa nyimbo za injili wawili, Rose Muhando mkongwe wa nyimbo za injili, alafu Ali Mukhwana another gospel singer, na imeibuka kwamba kumbe hawa waimbaji wa nyimbo za injili wanalipwa 200,000 ndio wakuje kanisani kuimba kwa conference. Hiyo mimi sikujua, isipokuwa mimi ni mchungaji. Hiyo sikujua kwamba 200,000. So kuna hii do I call it scandal? Exchanges between these two gospel singers who are, you know, in a fight, kind of, because one was invited and payments were done, and she did not honor the invitation, and then she has her own excuses why she did not, and it's becoming ugly. But I want us to look at that, since we are looking at financial crisis. This crisis seems not to be with Zakayo only, it is also with us in church and with gospel singers. Kwa hivyo naomba tu tukuje full swing tunapoanza mazungumzo yetu, tusisalie nyuma kwa vyovyote vile. Charles Green ashafika, asante sana. I say I was in attendance to KMTC graduation today at Kasarani, and DP in his usual lies spewed it out. You could hear the mamas from the people saying liar. Hiyo ni kweli, waongo hawa wote. Hawa ni wawili wamenipora na mimi. Na muita Apostle Henry aje atusaidie na hiyo nyimbo ili tukaelewe haya mambo. Asante sana Esther Stoll, karibu kwa show. Nashukuru tu sana ushafika. Kuna Tuni Muhammad, permanent secretary, thank you so much. Tatu Juma, karibu kwa show. Felistas Atideke, we salute you, welcome to the show. Simba Omar Said, karibu sana. Unasema Zakayo anatunza anatuuza bei rahisi na Kenya yetu. Haya, tutaangazia masuala haya. James Mutiso, karibu sana. Tunashukuru kwa kuwa ushafika. Esther Kabiru, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Han UK, we salute you, welcome to the show. Nani huyu? Kuna Gideon Etimile, karibu kwa show. He has borrowed more than our budget. Yes, that is the mystery. Borrowed more than our budget, yet there is no money to pay salaries. Government workers will be going for Christmas with nothing in their pocket. Mungu saidia Kenya. Okay, thank you so much. Nani mwingine huyu? Rose Omuga, karibu kwa show. Tunashukuru tu sana ushafika. Okay, thank you so much. Nani mwingine? William Adilo, karibu kwa show. Kuna Kanyish Mbeche. Kuambia majina leo yapo. Haya, mbele pamoja. Asante sana. George Obado, karibu kwa show. Asante sana kwa kuwa hapa. Alafu naomba basi tumakinike, tukaribishane. Hiyo namba inapaswa kupita 100 by now. Tunapoanza kuangazia masuala haya kwa kina, na ningependa kusikia maoni yenu. Kumbuka tunazungumza kuhusu borrowed 4.6 trillion. That's more than our budget. Kumbuka our budget covers the payments of the debt that we owe. Okay, so there is no budget kando alafu deni linalipwa kando. Katika hiyo budget yetu ya 3 trillion imekava na nini? Na malipo ya deni ya mwaka huo. Okay, so kama William Ruto ameboro 4.6 trillion, which is more than the 3 trillion budget, inakuaje inji haina hela, haiwezi kulipa mishahara ya wafanyikazi wa serikali? Mambo yamekwama. Ni nini ambacho kinafanyika hapa mpaka hata licha ya kuboro so much, there's still not enough to take care of our bills as a country? What's going on? I need to hear what you are saying on all this. The link to use to get in the studio is right here in the comment section. Click on it. Allow StreamYard to configure for you the camera as well as the audio, and you will be in this space for us to get talking. And more than that, please welcome somebody, invite somebody, remind somebody. Thank you so much, those of you who are joining. I can see the Facebook guys. Please, let's be on the forefront to share the link with everybody in our Facebook groups or WhatsApp groups. Let the whole world tune in as we dissect into this manenos. Yes, 4.6 trillion. Kumbuka tumeongezea tena 38 billion ya juzi. Hii ya juzi imetoka India. So tutaongeza hapo. It will go to what? Mathematicians. I'm waiting for non-scripts and mato na nani mwingine keep watusaidie na hii hesabu. Sisi tunapaswa kuelewa maneno haya wazi wazi. Alafu hilo swala la Ali Mukhwana na Rose Muhando pia nataka kulisikia nyinyi mnasemaje. Waimbaji wa nyimbo za Injili kuja kuimba kwa conference inahitaji wewe kutoboka 200,000. I've been preaching for most of my life and I've never seen that money in terms of a preacher. Okay, and I believe I'm a very good preacher. Now I don't see that's why I'm an old schooler, and I'm in agreement 100% with our departed hero, the Apostle Dr. Joe Kayo. He never believed in this choir thing. He never believed in this gospel singers thing. He would come to church, lead the hymn, and preach, collect the offering, pray for us, and dismiss us. Now, this issue of demanding 200,000 Kenya shillings in order for you to appear in a conference, for what purpose? I don't understand. What will she be bringing that will be, I don't know. Mtanisaidia na mkinipiga mawe sawa tu. Nimezoea, nimekuwa hapa miaka mingi. So hata mkianza na mawe sawa tu, lakini mimi nataka ukweli. Nataka ukweli wa mambo. Mambo hayakai vizuri, hayasikiki vizuri, na nchi hii inaharibika, na kuharibika kwa nchi hii akutoki tu State House, kumeanza kutoka wapi? Kanisani. Kumeanza kutoka kanisani. Itakuwaje kwamba wewe unakula fea mpaka unakula fea ya Mungu, yani Mungu akutumie fea ukuje mkutano yake, alafu ukule fea tena unakuwa mkali. Yani nakwambia hii impunity mmeanzisha mpaka ndani ya nyumba ya Mungu. Leo ni leo, lazima tumalizane kwa masuala haya waziwazi. Karibu kwa show kila mmoja, tazama kipindi na ndugu yako, tazama kipindi na anko yako, tazama kipindi na yeyote yule ambaye yuko ndani ya maisha yako. Na pia ningependa kuwahimiza tafadhali, let us subscribe. There are many people who view this show who are not subscribers, they are not members, they just enjoy the show and off they go. Please, we need you to subscribe. There is what's expected of a channel after a period of time. Like there is accounting for everything that the channel does, especially on YouTube, on daily basis. Every 48 hours, you're given the analysis on whether the channel is growing or not, or whether people are subscribing or not, whether people are viewing or not. And so please, we really need, especially those of you who are not yet subscribers, consider subscribing today. Please, as you like the video, as you vote, please subscribe. And if you know anybody who enjoyed this kind of content, reach out to them personally. Talk to them, give them the link, ask them to subscribe. We can't continue mark timing when we are supposed to be growing, okay? There are some channels that have come recently and overtaken us in terms of subscribers. And I know, of course, we don't do those sensational things. We are here for what is authentic and what is sound. But all in all, we that believe in what is sound, we that believe in what is authentic should be on the forefront of ensuring that we get as more people to subscribe as possible. Asante sana. Nashukuru Reverend Ashafika. Reverend Lala, welcome. How is it going today?
Yes, good afternoon or good evening, and good Bernard. It's another day the Lord has made, that we should rejoice and be glad in it. In spite of the challenges, because God reigns, He lives, and He is giving us a chance to make a difference because of His power and His grace all over us. And so I'm happy to be here to see you and all of you in the back, and let's all join together to support our channel. I've been a preacher for a long time, and I've been in all kinds of meetings and part of them and watched and participated. But I think this candid talk, this sound candid talk, is unique. I think it is authentic. It is a place that honor God. It's a place that looks at politics from a perspective that is balanced, that we are looking for changes that would bring us in line with what God would want us to be as a nation, especially for the young people, because this country belongs to you. You're the one to make it or break it. Right now, you cannot be on the periphery, you cannot be on the outside. Yani uwe nje unaangalia mambo vile mazamani walikuwa na hizo ni serikali. Tukujua kama serikali ni sisi. Wakenya ndio serikali. Whatever's going on is your voice. Either you're quiet and somebody speaks for you, or you choose to speak for yourself. And it is not God's will for us to be on the fringes. It's not God's will for us to be going out to look for help outside. And that leads me to the point that I wanted to make today. And my point is, I saw a beautiful, dark, young female called Rosie Atieno. This young, beautiful African girl went to Lebanon and was taking care of these Arab children. And time came for us to come back. The video's there. And they could not let her leave. There were so much tears. Anyone watching that video can just see the kind of love that our mothers have, African mothers have, the kind of love that should be here on the continent, on the soil. You know, look at how our women give and give and give and give, yet we are not giving them the space to share that. They gotta go outside. We have seen our young men and women leaving Africa to look for greener pastures outside. When we are sitting on wealth in terms of resources, minerals, and material resources, and even love. That is love shared. And you see that family, I'm sure they would want to come into Kenya to stay and feel that kind of love. So let us, as Kenyans, open our eyes and see how much we have in terms of God's blessing. Above all, the love that will attract others towards us, not us to go outside and look for greener pastures outside. So I thought that was a beautiful, beautiful story. And secondly, I saw this young woman. I listened to her talk about where following her, where she come from. And I think Miss Whitman, the ambassador of United States, should actually look at that woman, that young, beautiful Kenyan woman, coming from a place that they always think of danger when it comes to politics. You know, they're the ones they're seen as troublemakers. They come from Kisumu, they put a lot and all that because of false narrative that those are people who love violence. Look at that woman. She represents what love is and where love is. A place where she's coming from is filled with love. And love not just for Kenya, but love that goes beyond the borders. Okay? And that's who we as Kenyans. We want to love. But there are people that are there to disrupt this love. These are the kinds of people like Ruto. When you steal, when you're violent with your people, when you don't do what you're supposed to do, then what you're doing is sabotaging that great love that we have for our people. And we are here in this channel basically to restore that love into our country where we love each other. It doesn't matter whether they're Arab, they're Muslims, whether they're rich and poor, but we share with each other. Where we are ruled by laws, the constitution that is fair, that is made by us. And so we are here because we believe in that love. We are here because Atieno has set, ablaze what we believe is on the inside of us. And so if you're a Kenyan, you're out there, please don't see yourself as a nobody. Don't look at yourself as unable to make any changes at all. You can do it. This is a woman who was in a bad relationship, marriage, and instead of sitting and said, you know what, I still have love to share with people. Okay. In other words, love conquers. All love is the greatest tool we have, and this channel, I believe, radiates that kind of love that will tell us, no, I can't sleep when someone else is on the outside, starving, when a child can't go to school. when a country is being bankrupt by other people. I can't enjoy life, with multi-million, belts and and belts, we call it hundreds, I think 400. I don't know how much it costed the president, the kind of belts he was putting on, while there are those who cannot afford a meal, and you are a president. Okay, and so it is a time for all of us to come together and speak with one voice. And this channel is one of the most effective tools to bring changes in Kenya. And part of other things that are going in the US and every other part, of the world, but I make sure I am here on this channel because it is effective. It is saying things that you don't get out in the media because they are scared and afraid to speak the truth when they know the truth. It is a place where we speak the truth. And so I'm happy to be part of this channel. And to all of you that are out there, please, please, please join in, subscribe, and let us build a network that will save our people. And so today, I'm happy. Thank you, Bernard, for always being constant, always being available, always against all the odds. The channel is up and running. Therefore, we're so grateful. And for all of you out there, I think our monthly expenses should be met. I should not, Bernard should even talk about it. It should not. I think all of us should just give so that we have enough. Because when we have enough, then we can extend to other people. I remember Bernard going to Northeast and we distribute, some food and others. I think we should be giving, and that's what will be that will be a great example of what we believe in, and that is love. So the theme of love is my message to all of us today. Love that will not let us go. Love that will strain us to do the right thing, to speak truth, and to confront evil wherever it is found. That's what this channel is all about. It's about the love for the nation, the love for all of us, the love that allow us to unite, band together, and win. As I always say, the problem is not even per se Ruto. Okay, Ruto is a major problem, but the problem is all of us not being together and standing and speaking the truth. Because I always say, uh, Ruto, are we there? I always say, Ruto is such a small little dot in here, but it can just get out very quickly. If we come constitutional, we enforce and reinforce what we believe in, then no one should disobey. We mess around with our constitution as long as we are alive. That way, we will take care of the Ruto and Rutoism and men and women like Ruto, because we want a nation that is flowing with love, a nation that is built on truth, a nation that takes care of her own children and mothers, a nation that is prosperous and growing, and that's what we're looking for. So I'm happy to be here, Brother Bernard, na wengine hao wameingia hapo, Frank, vizuri kukuona hapo, na hao wengine mko nyuma, karibuni sana. Asante Bernard, nimefurahi kukuona na wengine wenzetu. I'll be waiting to hear from.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for that great start. And we are set to engage until we arrive to where we're going. Frank, I know unakuwaga na maswala. Karibu lakini, so tukupatie priority.
I think I didn't hear you. Did you say something, Bernard?
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you, yes. I can hear you.
I'm bringing in Frank. Frank, come in,
okay,
please.
no problem. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think Frank still has issues with his connection. His network is usually problematic, but keep trying, Frank. Will give you opportunity, but I think you need to leave and then get back until your net is stable enough for you to communicate. I salute everybody, please, as we join. I saw Mr. Guru here. Rude, Mr. Guru, umetupwa nje. We see, don't give up at the first attempt. This is hit and hit and hit. The first hammer is as important as the last one. So we don't quit. We must stay in the fight until we win. Mato Makndets, nataka utengeneze deski yako ya hesabu tafadhali. Unknown scripts, keep Makndets pamoja na engineer wa Kariuki. Nataka mnipigie hesabu. 4.6 trillion Kenya shillings borrowed in 1 year. Our budget is 3 trillion. What makes the government not have money to pay salaries? Kumbuka, in the budget of the year, there is always budgeting for the payment of the debt. So the payment of the debt is never outside the budget. It's always within the framework of the budget. So if the budget is 3 trillion, part of that 3 trillion is for paying debt. Where is the money going when Zakayo borrows it? Is he borrowing for corruption? That's the question we are asking on our poll question. And please, we want you to respond to the poll question by participating fully. The answer is either yes or no. That is how that poll question is framed. And we are asking, is Ruto government borrowing for corruption, hence the current financial crisis? On Sound Candy Talk Live, 5 votes, and all of them, 100%, they are saying, yes, Ruto is borrowing for corruption. On this other channel, Sound Candy Talk, is Ruto government borrowing for corruption, hence the current financial crisis? 90% of the 48 votes is said yes, and 10% said no. We have 49 votes so far with 38 likes. That means there are over 10 people who cast their vote without liking the video. Please make sure you like the video before you cast your vote. Thank you so much. I can see Mr. Guru. Mr. Guru, vipi, karibu.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Unanisikia?
Yes, unapatikana. Karibu sasa umepatikana.
That's good. That's good. Now I will go straight to the to the debate of today. And let me tell you this, Bernard. The issue of national debt is a mysterious one, and you will find even senior government officials will tell you exactly that we do not know exactly what our debt is, our debt levels are. It's more or less a matter of speculation, but it's now becoming very clear that this is one of the ways in which we have been losing money, that we are told we are paying debts. And I think here I might have to agree to some extent with Jimmy Wajege. He's been on this issue for quite some time now. Whenever figures are asked of exactly what we owe and who we owe, somehow that question is dodged. So I'm not surprised that we are being told there is some 4-point-something trillion, which could be commitments of the amounts to be dispersed in the next few years. But the actual thing here is, how much do we owe and how much is due. What are we paying? When we are told that 70% of our revenue goes to paying debts, which debts? This has become very difficult for the government to tell us, and it raises suspicion that there could be some monkey business going on. More so with the revelation that some people could be getting as much as 3 times the amount of salary that they should. So we are at a stage where Kenyans must demand transparency. Some of these, mismanagement and corruption could be a carryover over several years, and it becomes a culture through which money is lost, public funds are lost. There is a lot of hidden revenue in budgeting and that issue of debt, because whenever you hear various types of figures being floated around by various bodies in Kenya, and here economists have not helped us either. The government is not very clear on how much we owe and who we owe. It's become difficult. If today you are to ask how much are we paying Japan, how much are we paying China, how much are we paying US, how much are we paying other countries that we've borrowed from, they will hardly tell you what we are paying. They will just tell you that 70% of what we correct goes to paying debts. So it's something that needs to be taken with a lot of seriousness by Kenyans. I think time to demand that figure is now. And there seems to be a political conspiracy to keep some of these things hidden away from the public, because they are what constitutes the gravy train for the politicians. So I think the issue of debt is not a joke right now. We've reached, because we need to know exactly what we are paying, who we are paying, and for what. I think that's the only way that this issue can be resolved. No any other way. No any other way except through transparency. Otherwise, Kenyans have a right to start demanding that if they are not given that information, what obligation do they have to pay? They don't have obligation to pay. So I don't know why it's become so hard for the government to give the correct figures, updated figures, rather than just floating figures right, left, and center. Figures that are never really officially sanctioned. They are just floated by various personalities in government. They are not given in concrete terms. So it's become difficult for Kenyans to know what they are paying for. So Bernard, I know the propensity for this government to borrow is very high. And I believe they are borrowing a leaf from the previous Jubilee government, which they were part of, with the likes of Ruto, Ichung'wa, and the rest. And it's worrying, because even right now you can hardly tell any capital investment that is going on in terms of infrastructure, in terms of projects that are visible. So that's another weak side of this government, except the so-called affordable housing, which are being implemented with monies that are taxes cut directly from the workers. There's hardly any other thing you can put your finger on that is going on in the government today. Thank you. Let me stop there for now.
Okay, asante sana Baraguru. We appreciate that, and probably I will still get back to you. This shielding of the dead in mystery, it's meant to make Kenyans continue paying what is already paid, so that this excess payment ends up into people's pockets, because that could be the only explanation. Now, if that is the case, why would we so be cruel as leaders to an extent of milking an already dead cow to a level that, I mean, don't we care about this country enough to say hata kama tunaibanga hivi tukuweko wezi wako na huruma?
Bernard, where are those merciful thieves? I am not private to any thief who has mercy. And you know the Bible says a thief comes to steal and destroy. So they only think about themselves and their children and nothing else. And they see the world in terms of their own home state. They don't have a wide view of issues. So you are going to find out right now that most of the money that we borrow is stolen or does even not come here, is retained somewhere outside there, while other amounts are siphoned out through various proxies. Right now, you've heard there's the plan to sell government assets, although Kenyans have come very strongly against it. Some have even gone to court, like Mwea Irrigation, company. They have gone to court and they have been granted, temporary stay, that no action should be taken in terms of selling Mwea rice mills. The people in Nakuru have argued very strongly against selling new KCC because this government does not seem to understand why that organization is there. They say that it is a buyer of last resort. When we have so much milk and the private sector cannot take any more, that's the only point where the farmers take their milk and is bought, and therefore it saves them from losses. So the issue is not whether new KCC is making profits in huge figures. It is a cushion for farmers, and this is a concept that has worked very well over the years. So there are underlying issues that the government seem not to put into consideration, like even when you talk about selling Kenya Seed Company, how do you put national food security situation in the hands of profiteers? The private sector are just about making profits. So how do you now put Kenya Pipeline in the hands of private people when it is a serious, actually security facility? It can cripple down the country if those private enterprises even aligned themselves with other forces outside there, and there's nothing you can do about it because they are private enterprises. So there are so many things that are rather scary that this government wants to do, and when you look at the amounts that they want to raise out of those sales, it's nothing to take home about. So it's a jumbled up affair. And this government is proving every day that it is clueless in how to deal with the economic situation in the country. Right now, they are talked of assisting farmers to have at least 1,000 dams to conserve water, so that even if the drought comes, the food security situation can be improved into the future. we no longer hear of that. So there's it's a government of blame games and promises and promises upon promises and nothing more. There is very little that is happening that indicates that the government understands where we should be moving as a country. What happened to the setting up of aggregation centers and industrial parks? They were done with such hype by the former CS trained Moses Kuria, but these have now fizzled out. And so it is really a very, very, very dark moment for this country, because what we have are just people who are clueless, people who do not seem to understand that development takes place in a consistent manner, and you put your finger on something and follow it through to conclusion. But here we have people who are just playing populist politics that will take this country nowhere in the final end. Thank you, Bernard.
Asante sana, Mr. Guru, for that clarification. Ladies and gentlemen, as we engage, please, let's keep the focus. Let's keep the focus. And the focus is to see to it that we recover what we have lost of this country. And then, of course, get rid of those that want to make this country what the Busia Senator Okiya Omtata described it, a client state. And it appears that William Ruto is keen on that he would even sell his head to make Kenya a client state. The reason why he has picked out those particular parastatals for sale is not just for his personal gain, but for the foreign forces to gain entrance into the country and propagate their agenda without necessarily having to seek permission or authorization from Parliament. The issue of GMOs and all that. So if Kenya seed is sold and the client who buys is Bill Gates and the GMO seeds propagators, who will now interfere with Kenya seed when it's now generating and selling to farmers, especially unsuspecting farmers, the GMO seeds? We will just end up with a country that is 100% GMO within a short time without even realizing it in the first place. And so this seems to be a well choreographed script that is being acted out. It's no longer an accident. It's no longer something that is being done outside the expectation of William Ruto, and probably he has already been settled. So he's looking for avenues to get this IMF, World Bank, and the other international interested parties to gain entry into the country, do their thing without having to be interfered with either by Parliament or by the other authorities. Take for instance, even the court of law, because now if Kenya Seed is a private company and is growing their private seed, how do we take them to court for having introduced GMO into the country and probably try to stop it? So there seems to be a person hell-bent to sell this country and turn it into somebody else's extended property without Kenyans having to say anything about anything. And so this is the time we have as Kenyans to raise our voices and say, no, we cannot watch our country going to the dogs and we do nothing about it. Now, this issue about our exams, okay, that KCPE exam was carried out in corruption, okay? That the company that had been signed for the exam, they had to withdraw. When you withdraw a contract, you pay for the inconveniences. So these people are so much bent into corruption to a level whereby they will pay off a company that had won the contract and probably signed to print exam for the next 5 years or so. they pay all those expenses just for them to print and mess up the destiny of our children. So this corruption and the William Ruto administration is something that Kenyans cannot and should not entertain. And that's why when Musimamo here talks about heckling these people and shouting them down, it's a reality. By the way, before Lala can come in and probably respond to it, I want you to help me see, because probably mimi niko na macho ine yangu hiyo ni vizuri. There is something here, I don't know how true it is, I've not confirmed, but I want you to see. Remember, they said the edible oil was not fit for human consumption. After 24 hours, it was now declared fit for human consumption. I don't know whether it was after prayer or after fasting or after declaration. But now
Not 24 hours, Bernard. Not 24 hours.
Yeah.
It is more than several days. And I think some phones must have been made to cabs.
Look at this. Look at this. Okay, this is an advert of an offer of this salad oil or liquid oil, and it was initially going for 1,500, 1,548, if my eyes are seeing well. But now they are offering it at 899 Kenya shillings. I think this is 5 liter. Is it? Is this 3 liter or 5 liter jerrycan? Could this be part of the edible oil that has now been sanctified by Zakayo and made fit for human consumption by word of mouth? Mr. Guru, you can check it.
I don't know what Kenyans will do, because you had a whole cabinet minister saying that we are candidates of death. So many things kill us. The other day we had sugar that was raised with mercury. We had maize that was brought into these countries with a lot of aflatoxin. Now we are having dirty edible oil. And this is all about people wanting to make money through corruption. It's nothing else. And it is a tragedy that our country is in. Even the issue of exams is all about people making money. And it's unfortunate that our politics is tied with the corruption, because I'm sure even with these hard economic times, KK government is looking for how to accumulate money that they'll use in the last 1.5 years to buy political support across the country. That is the reality of our politics, unfortunately. And not unless we find other ways of dealing with this, I don't see hope for Kenya. We are going to have it tough. We are going to eat poison as long as people have to hunt for money. In fact, what we have in government today are fortune hunters, dealers and profiteers, not leaders. We just have people who have positioned themselves to make the best out of the situation for personal gain. And for that, we are going to suffer quite much. And this cuts across both the national and even county governments. You have seen what has happened due to the kind of disaster, the El Nino disaster that we have. Our countries have a kitty for emergencies, but you see people suffering all over, lack of food, lack of shelter. Yet there is always contingency fund for disasters. So, and even the government has, then you ask yourself what exactly is happening. Must we wait for US? Must we wait for USAID and other organizations to deal with our domestic matters, such as taking care of people who are fallen in a disaster situation? It is sad. It is very, very sad. And the way things are, the way things are, they are moving downhill, and people will know how deep we are in shit. Sorry to use that word on this forum. Next year, when most children will not even find a space in school because of lack of school fees. Thank you.
So well put, Mr. Guru. Thank you so much. Sad that we gave the key to the safe to somebody who wanted us out of the way. We made the enemy to be the gatekeeper. We can't be safe in the house because the watchman is a thief and the thief is the watchman. It is terrible. Reverend Lala, you can weigh on that shortly, and then I will play a video.
Brother Guru and Bernard, our people are really in trouble. We're really in trouble because there is a deficit of faith, belief. Mistrust is what is there, and without a sense of trust, I'm telling you, we have nothing. We may have some faith, but it's not true faith, because trust is built on the fact that two parties agree to follow certain basic awareness, understanding that this equals this equals that. Some things got to be the same plane. But what we have is lies after lies after lies. I gave an analogy here some time back of a young man who had a child, and he lost his job, looking for a job, and he went to a zoo to look for something to do, and the zookeeper told him that we would love to help you, but there are no jobs. Sorry. And the young man pleaded because his wife just had their first child, and he didn't know what they're gonna eat that night. And so finally, the manager of the zoo told him, we can't guarantee a job, but this weekend is something that you can help us with. One of our favorite monkeys died, and this monkey is the one that entertained our children. And the children, they come, they expect this monkey, but this monkey is gone. All we want for you to do is to dress up like this monkey. And the guy was petite, of course, so they gave him the suit. He was willing to do it because he was desperate. So he began to jump from tree to tree, being trained. And finally, they felt this guy will really mimic our dead monkey. And so the day came, the weekend came, the children got there, and the young man was in his suit, monkey suit, and began to jump from tree to tree. And the kids are smiling and laughing. But finally, when the young man went to the next tree, the branch broke, and he fell right in the den of lion. So he began to cry or at least wanted to be nearby to help him. Help, help. Then the lion came close and told him, be quiet, we may lose our jobs. So the lion was not was still fake, just like the kids who are being entertained by this so-called fake monkey, and that's a picture of Kenya. This is exactly what we are dealing with right now. So trust cannot be built because we don't know how much money we are collecting. We don't know where it is going to. As others have told us um, before, who are better in the understanding of economics, Guru, I think, commented that we have got no clear place that we can look to and say this is.
There is a name in town that has touched every generation, committed to delivering excellence and expertise, striving to transform the automotive industry. Something for every road, every situation, every need. A name that has been there driving you through every stage of life in comfort and style. CFAO Motors Kenya, your preferred mobility partner.
What is happening from east to west? Even the budget director does not know. Okay, she asked for explanation on what money is done. She's not allowed to access where the money is. So clearly, what we have is really, let me, I know some my Luo word, there's a word called opoklo, a shell, it's almost like the people that we see as if they have something, we expect things to come from them. They are, they basically know nothing. They're just there to wing, us, to make us believe, that we are functioning democracy. Yet they have got no clue what's going on. They may be called CS, they may be called budget director, but they've got no clue what's going on. And so here we are discussing something that does not even exist. And this is where the country is, unless we get it back. Because for me to hear the budget director complaining that they never even given an explanation till the time she was actually speaking, she had not been told, given any information about her job. So the question is, what is she really doing? Because she doesn't have the data to work with. So this is the country that we have at this moment. So we really don't know. And in fact, when we want to know, then it's like crying fire in a theater, movie theater, so that people get confused. So every day there's some decoy to kind of stop us from knowing the truth. Till maybe a monkey falls inside the den of lion, that's when people, know the truth. But the sad thing is that we cannot handle truth. We're looking for truth, and when we are told, we kind of rationalize it, or we don't talk about it, we move to something else. So I think as Kenyans, we got to really check ourselves and let us ask those questions, those tough questions, but let's be willing to do what needs to be done for us to get our country back. So that's, I think, when it comes to finance, none of us have any clue what's going on except Ruto. Even the debt we have, we are told, Tata told us, and explained, that we may not even have this so-called debt you're talking about, and because we have no data. And maybe Guru can help us understand what's really going on because for me, I don't understand. I don't know where the tax money goes. I've tried to research, look, ask people. I've got no clue.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Lala. A great story indeed. That usituharibie job wewe. Nyamaza hapo. And that story illustrates the real picture. And maybe the reason why Madam Nyakango is on hit list. Alianguka kwa zoo, alafu anaanza kusema watu wanapokea mishahara mara 3. Badala anyamaze tu tuendelee kukula. Alafu anaenda kutangaza. So it's crazy. But let's bring in a video. Namuona pia Haruni amefika. Haruni, wewe story yako utaniambia story ya Rose Muhando na Ali Muhwana. Mniambie tu vizuri. Mbona mimi ubiri wa injili nilikuja kuhubiri mnaniambia nibarikiwe? Kumbe waimbaji wanapewa 200,000. 200,000. Yeye ndo ameleta Roho Mtakatifu na Mungu Baba na Mwana ama ndio nini? Mniambie hiyo. Lakini ngoja share video kwanza. Okay, let's start here.
That will accommodate more than 6 million residents within 5 years, and the project is bound to be completed this year, 2023, by the Chinese and other foreign construction companies. While the Kenyan current government will be moving around on top of cars for 5 years, telling Kenyans that he won the 2022 election and how credible it was. The current president still goes ahead to tell Kenyans how he will beat his opponent come election in 2027. This only means Kenyans have never and will never take a break from cheap politics and realize they deserve a better quality of life through good leadership. Kenyans were promised free education, but it seems their children's dream will not come true since there's a looming sign that parents will pay more from their pocket to give their children a moderate education. The Kenya Kwanza government is deliberately killing education, and the future of the next generation will be nothing but a dead end. On the 28th of August, Kenyans woke up to a statement by CS Interior that the state was to lease a passport printing machine from private investors. But what the CS of Interior left out of his statement was, how much was it going to cost to lease this printer, and how long it will take for the leasing. This is a concern to the majority of taxpayers of Kenya. While other countries are investing in education, research, infrastructure, tourism, and anti-aging technology, Mr. Ruto is running around the country on top of the car using old-school politics of the 1980s, trying to win Gen Z with hammer and nails to make furniture, yet there is a new technology that can be used for carpentry. What a shame. It is now clear that Kenyans will have to pay more taxes after the IMF introduced a tax called carbon tax, and this will be charged directly from the fuel pump. Prepare for tough times ahead, because when the government wants its share of your money, it will come for it whether you are dead or alive. This is what we call democracy, a gap between the rich and the poor.
Are you living in mass? Are you crazy? Are you mad? Are you mental? Do you need a mental checkup? What are these people you are calling? What were they called? Hustlers. Which hustler are you going to find for removing a notice off a car? 500,000 Kenya shillings. You are taking Kenyans crazy.
Order. Fines
are to deal with people who have a penchant of breaking the law. People who believe that laws are there not to be followed.
And I will repeat, are you mental? Are you out of your mind? Think about Kenyans that you are harassing. Which Kenyan is going to pay 500,000 Kenya shillings for removing a small piece of paper off a car? You are very unserious.
Order, Millie. Order, Millie.
Exactly. You are very unserious. Mr. Guru, you have something to say before Aaron comes in now. You are mute. You are mute, Mr. Guru. We can't hear you. Sorry, you are still mute. All in all, let's carry on. Mr. Aaron, how are you?
Mr. Bernard, niko safi, namshukuru Mungu. Kahoma naona kameanza kutulia, alhamdulillah.
Amina.
Asante. Mungu ni mzuri sana, Mungu ni mzuri siku zote.
Haya, karibu tuambie kwa kina masuala haya.
Asante. By the way, hii story kuhusu Ruto's financial crisis, alafu na hii mystery ya 4.6 trillion borrowing. Ni maajabu Mr. Bernard. Ningependa kusema namna hii. Kuchukua loan, by the way, si mbaya. Wakati mtu unachukua loan, first of all lazima uwe umeketi chini kitako ukaandika hii loan nikichukua kama ni 1 trillion 200 billion itaenda kwa barabara, 300 billion maybe itaenda kwa roads, another 300 billion itaenda maybe in terms of health, others may other amount maybe itaenda kama ni housing, vitu kama hizo. Yani lazima kwanza upeane outline. Lakini sasa ile kitu nimekuja kushangaa Mr. Bernard, William Samoei Ruto inaonekana wakati anaenda kuchukua hizi loans ni kama yani anachukua tu. Unajua, when you are taking a loan as a president, rais wa nchi, what you are supposed to do, ensure kuwa then mambo ya kuimpose tax kwa all the taxpayers, because unajua hii loan in order for you upate pesa za haraka za kuilipa, kama uwezi kama hauta pump hiyo loan kwa hawa
It's kind of delicious and wonderful. Glenmorangie, single malt Scotch whiskey.
The taxpayers wenye wana exist, then usiimpose a tax kwa. What you are supposed to do is to create a new taxpayers. How are you supposed to create a new taxpayers? Our new taxpayers inastahili uangalie ni areas gani ambapo ukiweka hiyo loan yenye umepata, then kutoka hapo utapata pesa kwa haraka, alafu na hiyo pesa yenye utapata kutoka hapo itakusaidia kulipa hiyo loan, then kutoka hapo faida sasa itakuwa kwako, kama maybe umeunda industries, na hizo industries zimekusaidia mambo ya ku add values ya your product ambazo zinatoka maybe mashambani, then kutoka hapo wakati utalipa ile profit yenye utakuwa unapata, ama ile pesa yenye utakuwa unapata mpya, just anza kulipa hiyo loan yenye umekwisha chukua hapo awali, then kutoka hapo sasa the old tax payers, wale watu wako wa zamani wenye already hauja introduce kitu chochote chenye kitawatoa kwa business, my brother or my sister, kulipa loan itakuwa teke. So zile infrastructure zenye hiyo loan ilikusaidia zitakuwa hapo in ages and ages to come. But now William Samoei Ruto baba wote ile mystery nimekuja kuona, yeye anachukua loan, at the same time hii loan bado hajaipump into maybe into those the so called hustlers wenye alikuwa anataka atoe kwa matope awapandishe juu, hajawapatia pesa. Because kama angekuwa amewapatia pesa, hatungekuwa tunasikia hizi nduru kutoka kwao. Ushaona sasa? So yeye amechukua loan, baada ya kuchukua hiyo loan ameihold hiyo 4 wa Kenya. Wacha niwaambie hii 4.6 trillion yenye nimeona hapo, William Samoei Ruto hajaweka hiyo pesa into any business, hajaiweka into any economy ya Kenya. Hiyo pesa hakunayo kwa mfuko. Sasa William Samoei Ruto ameenda tena as far as sasa wale watu wenye wamekuwa wakichangia uchumi kupitia kwa tax, amewawekea tax. Sasa vile amewawekea tax, ndio hawa amekwisha kuwatoa kwa business, nao ndio mnaona the economy is sinking and sinking. Sasa swali langu kwa William Samoei Ruto, why is he withholding hii 4.6 trillion ama any loan yenye amekopa kutoka China, yenye amekopa maybe kutoka America, yenye amekopa kutoka kwa wahisani? Mbona asiweke into business? Kwa sasa the moment vile tunaona akiendelea kuimpose vile anaendelea kuimpose hizi tax namna hii, yeye in his mind, the William Samoei Ruto's mind ni ile kuwa mimi nikiwa na hii 4.6 trillion as a loan, hii ni pesa, this is my mind, I want to be the new Dangote of Africa within a lifespan of 1 year. Now wacha ni impose taxes kwa heavy taxes kwa hawa walipa ushuru, so that ikiwa unajua loan inakuanga na period yake, wakati IMF ama World Bank wataanza kuitisha loan yao, so nitakuwa ninatoa hii pesa yenye nili increase kwa hawa taxpayers, nilipe our lenders. So hiyo ndio iko kwa mind ya William Samoei Ruto. So kama Mkenya una expect any road, una expect kutengenezewa nafasi za kazi, William Samoei Ruto akiwa eti yeye ndiye anashika hatamu ya uongozi, utangoja sana. So William Samoei Ruto is a cunning politician, yeye ameachieve kuwa trillionaire within a very within, by the way, a very short time. Yani, in fact, look, within 1 year, William Samoei Ruto is now a trillionaire. From nowhere, is now Mesabana. He's a trillionaire. At the legs of sasa ameingia kwa bracket ya the Aga Khanis, ya kina Mirau. Yeah, our guru wenye tuko nao wenye wana shape the economy of Kenya. So William Samoei Ruto within a very short time ameingia hapo. So kama tunangoja kuwa kuna kitu kizuri kitatoka kwa William Samoei Ruto, tutangoja sana. You know, compete, competing with a pig swimming in the mud. In fact, uwezani bana, uwezani. So William Samoei Ruto, by the way, wa Kenya, ile kitu tumeachieve kutendea William Samoei Ruto ni ile tumemfanya kuwa a trillionaire. Watoto wake sasa hivi na watoto watoto wa William Samoei Ruto hawataiona umaskini, na hiyo it is a sad reality ambayo sisi kama Wakenya tumejikuta. So Mesabana, hiyo ndio jambo ningependa kuguzia, then kutoka hapo nitarudi kwako, kwa naona ni sisi peke yetu tupo tukiwa tunangoja hawa ndugu zetu na dada zetu waingie, alafu nitarudi tena kuguzia masuala mengine ambayo nimeona yamejiri katika taifa letu tukufu la Kenya. Back to you, Mesabana.
Okay. Asante sana Bwana Haruni, we appreciate that. William Ruto behaves like yule mtu amekumbuka tukiwa shule, labda mnacheza mpira alafu mtu ana faint, then unatumwa ukimbie, wewe ndio unakimbianga mbio sana, ukimbie kwa duka ulete maziwa. So William Ruto ni kama yule inji na faint, inahitaji msaada, yeye anaenda ng'amba anachukua msaada. Ni kama ile sasa kijana amekimbilia maziwa kuja kukomboa huyu ambaye ana faint, lakini yeye anakunywa maziwa badala ya yule anayekuwa resuscitated. We are so much into a mess, and it's all because we have an incompetent person who has no idea on how nation governance is done and country development is done. That video we shared about Egypt and building a new city for 6 million people. The city will be completed this year. I think now it should be completed by now. But what is Ruto talking about? Hustler Fund. What is he talking about? Fertilizer. What is he talking about? Tumepanga, tumetenda, tumetenga. Something has to happen to this country, and it's my prayer that whatever it takes, let God get rid of bad leaders from this country and allow right leaders to take charge. We cannot mortgage the country wherever for the benefit of the chosen twisted few who can't stand proper change, who can't stand the progress of the Kenyan people. I want to bring in a video. Ninakuomba msilegee, kuna wale ambao wameanza kulegea. Naomba tukae kwa mstari wa mbele kukaribishana, tuhakikishe kwamba tunaendeleza kipindi. It is 17 minutes after midnight East African time, and that means you are already on the home stretch Na kama watu wengi waingie studio, basi itakuwa hivyo kama vile tulikuwa tumepanga. Nitacheza hii video alafu nipeane my announcement and then we can weigh on the same. Here we go.
It'll just formalize the reality that poor countries can never repay their loans.
Senator, are you saying that you're opposed to debt relief for impoverished countries?
No, we should forgive the debts, but that's not going to help those countries very much.
Okay. What will?
Tax cuts. Some African tax rates are the highest in the world. In Tanzania, the 30% rate kicks in at $475 of income. Plus, they have a 20% value-added tax. It gets added to everything you buy. Those high tax rates make it impossible to build capital in those countries. So nothing gets built, not factories, not roads, not anything. Poor African countries have the lowest wage workers in the world. And yet a company like Nike, for instance, can't put a factory in one of those countries because of the oppressive tax rates. Taxes have killed any possibility of economic development. They've killed any hope of these countries ever helping themselves. And that leaves them completely at the mercy of charity and loans. And here's the worst part. You know why those countries have such high tax rates? Because of us. To show us that they can raise enough money to pay back their loans. But taxes can't raise any money if they kill the economies. So it turns out that the tragic, unintended consequence of our good intentions toward Africa, our kindness, is that we have encouraged those countries to lock themselves into a gruesome economic depression. If we don't urge those countries to cut their tax rates, they will never grow their economies. People will live lifetimes, permanent, and children will be hungry. And our charity will never be enough. Never.
One of you to know everything. But I do expect that you will take time to read, to understand, to ask, to look for help. And even in some of the cases where you have a view, you must always remember that a good idea must give way to a better idea. You also must always remember that it's only a fool who doesn't change their mind. If facts speak otherwise, other than the view you have, you must be ready to change your mind. Each and every one of us must be ready to learn, to look at different worldviews. Again, I encourage you to read so that you can understand, to ask where you don't understand. Don't pretend to know everything. That's why Waswahili wanasema kuuliza si ujinga, bali ni kutaka kujua. So I want to encourage you. You have a huge responsibility on your shoulders in the stations that you will be representing the government and the people of Kenya. Of our support, my personal support, that of the government of Kenya through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Issues. Each and one of you, as you go forth into your stations beginning tomorrow, you are going to represent the people of Kenya. I haven't appointed anybody here because of the village they come from, the community they come from, or the region they come from. It is my expectation that you will represent Kenya, understanding very well that Kenya is a great democracy. And the image of our country will be reflected by your actions, what you do, how you carry yourself, and how you articulate issues that are of importance, that are of significance, that project the positive image of our country.
Sorry,
Mr. Bernard.
I got caught up. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Zakayo releasing his new appointees for ambassadorial position across the globe, and is giving them instructions that they should listen to advice, they should give room to better ideas when they are confronted with. And then the other part he was talking about they should serve in the interest of Kenyans. That was my most interested part of his communication, that they should serve in the interest of Kenyans. And I'm left to wonder whether he does what he's telling them.
Not less from you to push for the interest of Kenyans, Kenyan companies, Kenyan businesses, Kenyan entrepreneurs, to make sure that it is your responsibility to be available to support their pursuits, their interests, and to protect them. It is our responsibility as government. It will be your responsibility as ambassador to make sure that you look after Kenyans in the countries that you will be working from, and to make sure that we secure the global national interest of Kenya.
Okay, one moment. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is Zakayo dispatching his team across the globe for their service, and gives them whatever instructions that they should serve Kenyans. We have had many cases of Kenyan embassies ignoring Kenyans who are in the foreign countries, especially in the Middle East, where our girls and our brothers are having problem, and it's like the embassy eats with the oppressor to keep oppressing them and misusing them. And so I don't know what really goes on, but I believe we need a country of people who can serve the interest of their country where they are, and not the interest of the foreign countries where they have been assigned to. Na kama mambo ni kwenda tu kwa sababu unaenda kukula mshahara na unaenda kuishi vizuri, serikali itakusimamia na hakuna kitu unafanya kusaidia Wakenya, that makes you unfit for that position in the first place. All in all, thank you so much for participating into our conversation. I want to salute all of you for being part of the great talk on Sound Candy Talk. So far, 10 votes on Sound Candy Talk Live. Is Ruto government borrowing for corruption? Hence the current financial crisis. 90% say yes, 10% say no. Let's check on this other avenue. Or let me see. Okay. This one seems to be off. Okay, I will get it. In the meantime, we can go back to Harun. Harun, what is your take on this Zakai is talking about before we can do the announcement?
Mimi Mr. Bernard, unajua mimi ni security officer. Uwanga vitu ndogo ndogo haziwezi zikanipatia zikaguza roho yangu, yani machozi itoke. No. Sasa yeye sasa hivi unaona vile anaongea, yani anawaambia eti sasa mkienda pale ensure ni watu wa gani ametuma, maybe ni watu wenye wanamzingira, si watu ambao wanawajibika, whereby shida ikiwa anaweza mconfront, lakini kama ametuma kabila lake peke yake, how is he going to handle how is he going to handle him hard wakati atakuwa na utepetefu kutosaidia msichana mwenye anapitia shida pale Saudi Arabia ama wapi, mahali popote tu, ama Mkenya yote tu mahali hapo mwenye anapitia shida, itakuwa ngumu sana. So William Samoei Ruto from the word go, wakati tu nilimuona through court anasafisha tu marafiki zake wenye walikuwa wezi, wezi wa mabilioni ya pesa, hapo ndio roho yangu ilitoka kabisa. Sasa hivi anawapatia those, angalia how cunning that gentleman is. Yeye anawapatia instruction, anawaambia please, mkienda pale inua bendera ya Kenya juu, nini, ilari yeye ndio ambassador everywhere. Hatujaona hao ambassador wakifanya kazi. William Samoei Ruto is running everywhere. Anatumia pesa zetu vibaya. Look how hata Dubai peke yake, baadaye angeambia ambassador na atume maybe foreign affairs minister nani Musalia Mudavadi, angemtuma tu peke yake, simple. Lakini sasa hivi yeye anabeba watu 1000 anaenda nao, alafu then kutoka hapo wakati anapeana instruction anaongea tu nikana kwamba analia. Hiyo ni machozi, ni machozi ya mamba manzi. Hiyo kama angekuwa ni kiongozi mzuri tungekuwa tumeona kabisa, hata amehurumia mama wenye wananyonyesha kwa kutowaimposia heavy taxes. Angehurumia baba mwenye anakanyaga mguu pale ushago, anakanyaga mguu chini, trouser ndio imetoboka, anatumia kamba ya ndizi kama belt kwa sababu hana belt. Hao ndio watu angehurumia, lakini look Sasa hivi anawatuma, anawapatia thousands and thousands of money hao ambassadors. Hakuna usaidizi yoyote wanaenda kufanya. William Samoei Ruto, because hatujaona, we have not seen ambassador wakiwa engaged, hatujaona. Yeye ndio tunaona anakimbia, because if he is a good president mwenye anajali Mkenya, William Samoei Ruto saizi angekuwa amesitisha safari zote, aseme kuwa because Njuguna ametuambia kuwa the country is broke, hakuna pesa zenye hata civil servant watalipwa. Wewe umeona Sakaja ndio amepiga nduru jana akisema kuwa anataka kuwa impeached kwa sababu civil servants hawana mishahara. Wale watu wa county ya Nairobi hawana mshahara, so ma MCA wanataka kumimpeach. So ndio tukate all this. William Samoei Ruto kama angekuwa na huruma kwa Wakenya, angekata kabisa, aseme nao nitakuwa ninaenda tu kwa selective. Lakini sasa yeye tu kakitu kadogo tu hivi anakimbia, anaharibu millions and millions of tax payers money. So mimi hiyo sauti yenye ameongea ya upole hiyo, mama akiwa anashindwa kunyonyesha mtoto kwa sababu ya kukosa chakula, siwezi tingishwa na hiyo sauti ya Ruto bana, siwezi kabisa. So wacha nikuje mambo ya economic growth. Tax cut ndio wanga ina help an economy to grow, cause wakati taxes ziko chini utapata kuwa sisi kama consumers, ushaona, sisi kama consumers tutakuwa na pesa ya kuspend. So unajua the moment bei ya bidhaa iko chini, sasa utapata kuwa at least pesa inabaki kwa mfuko. So hata nikitoka tu kidogo hivi naweza fanya even impulse buying, naweza nunua kitu ambacho sikuwa natarajia sikuwa anatarajia kwa sababu pesa iko. Lakini sasa hivi kama hauna do, hiyo inamaanisha kuwa ile kidogo yenye uko nayo utaihold, na ukihold namna hiyo ikiwa kwa mfuko yako namna hiyo, haisaidii economy, because the moment umenunua the moment umetoa hiyo pesa ukanunua kitu, ndio unapata kuwa gava imechukua yake na imefanyia miradi 1, 2, 3. But the moment wewe the moment you impose heavy taxes, sasa utaninyima hiyo uhuru wa kutoa pesa yangu kwa mfuko nifanye nayo biashara. And that is hapo sasa ndio unapata kuwa the economy cannot grow. Alafu kuna hiyo clip yenye umepiga ya kwanza, before upige ya hicho clip cha William Samoei Ruto kuhusu borrowing, wakiguzia kuwa maybe company tuseme kama the likes of Adidas, the likes of Nike, they cannot be able to invest maybe in country. But niliona huyo bana akisema kuwa Nike haiwezi ika-invest in Tanzania because tax rates ziko juu. Yes, when tax rates ziko juu hakuna investor atakuja, because sasa uniambie mtu amekuja na 10 trillion zake anataka kuja kuinvest in Kenya na hii mambo ya VAT ikiwa juu namna hii, ambapo hata unaweza pata, yani unapata kuwa hata banking sector or financial institutions unapata kuwa vile zina lend borrowers money interest iko juu. So unapata kuwa huyu investor hawezi akakuja, na hii inasababishwa na nini? Na viongozi wetu wao kuendelea kurely on IMF and World Bank. Ndio unaona jamaa anasema kuwa you cannot grow an economy with charities. Hauwezi hizi unarushiwa tu kidogo, hauwezi ukagrow an economy. Hii 4 trillion yenye William Samoei Ruto amepewa, hii 4.6 trillion yenye William Samoei Ruto amepewa na IMF, it will not grow the economy of Kenya by viongozi hao wake, the small oligarchs hao wenye wameanza kuemerge, the Chirichiris, the Murkomenis, these small oligarchs, the likes of Kipto wa Energy, these small oligarchs wenye wanaemerge, wenye wameteka nyara the economy of Kenya as we speak right now. In fact, hawezi wakanini, hawezi wakatupa uhuru wa sisi kutumia kuensure kuwa hii pesa imekuwa distributed kwa haraka. Tumeanza kurudisha pesa ya hawa wahisani, so that tubaki na profit na iendelee kutusaidia kwa hizi kwa hii kizazi chetu ama kizazi ambacho kinakuja. Loans are good, lakini hizi loans tunazitumia kwa njia ipi? Kama hizi loans tungekuwa tunazichukua na tunaensure kuwa kwa zile miradi ambazo tulikuwa tunakusudia kutumia hizi loans, then we will achieve the goals yenye ilitupeleka sisi kwenda kukopa hizi pesa. But wakati tunachukua hizi loans na hatuziweki hizo pesa, hatuziweki into economy, na above all to ensure kuwa tumeslain hii mambo ya corruption. You know, corruption ndio kitu ambacho kinatuangamiza. So wakati tutaamua kwa sauti moja kusema kuwa please, if we are going for loan, lazima kwanza tu ensure kuwa tumeweka sheria kali. Kama itabainika kuwa Murkomen hakika alichukua hongo ya 15 billion, sentence yake haitakuwa kwenda kula nini, kula maharagwe Kamiti. No, itakuwa ni kuwa hanged, kama yani mtu ahangiwe, iwe as an example kwa wale watu ambao wananachizi the economy of our country. Because how long are we going to leave our bandits wa economy kuendelea kututendea unyama namna hii? Because yani, in fact, engineer Kariuki, tumekuwa subjected kuwa beggars in any administration yenye inakuja. Enzi za Kibaki, at least Kibaki aliamua kusema kuwa mimi hata kama nitakopa kidogo, but watu wangu I will not subject my people kwa high taxation. Akaamua kuacha tu nini tax iwe tu the same, but ile kidogo yenye alikopa tuliona its effect kwa economy. But Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta aliingia na William Samoei Ruto in 10 years wakachukua 10 trillion. Yani in 10 years wakachukua 6 wakachukua William Samoei Ruto ndio